Hi everyone, I am Kelly Stone with Rising Point Solutions, VP of Sales, and I am with one of the best sales reps in the company, Allyson Howitz. And I almost said your maiden name because I'm just used to doing it.
It's
It's been
okay.
too long.
I started with Rising Point with my maiden, and so yeah, there's a lot of people that still think I'm Edmonds, but
Yeah, you're still in my phone that way. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
I never
that's
changed
okay.
it. Natalie, same way.
Yep.
Same. Yeah, so it's funny how that works out. But hi everyone, we just wanted to kind of come to you. We actually don't get to see each other physically, and we haven't seen each other physically in a while, but we wanted to be able to share some information with you guys because obviously the market's ever changing. What's going on in the economy is constantly changing at this point. So we want to make sure that we are staying on top of your business as well as ours and just kind of coming together with the best information possible. So Allyson, I know that we're seeing a lot of market changes, and recently we've been hearing that the credit score minimum is going up, which is fascinating because, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense in this economy, right?
Yeah, I mean, Kelly and I have been with Rising Point. I know I've been with Rising Point almost 8 years. You were a little longer than that, and I don't think I've ever seen the minimum score for a government loan go to 640 before, which
Right.
I have lenders all last night, today, texting me, hey, you're about to get slammed because we're not able to do the loans like we could at 620. They've
Yeah.
raised that minimum score. So there's been a lot of people that are not able to do what they should have been able to do, like a week or two ago, because things are
Exactly.
changing consistently every day.
Exactly. And I get it. I mean, let's face it, the reason why the credit score minimum is going up is because they're worried about not getting paid back, right? I
Yeah.
would be.
Unemployment's huge right now. I mean, that's one of the biggest things I know for a lot of people. And like my husband's in the oil and gas industry, and they're kind of on pause, like a lot
Yeah.
of industries. I mean, we don't know if they're going to have income in the next couple months.
Right.
Student loans is one thing that I'd love to talk about is student loans. Contact your servicer. Um,
Yes.
Student loans, I mean, I know someone that contacted theirs yesterday, and they were like, yeah, you've got a 90-day kind of forgiveness period right now because everything's kind of iffy. So, I mean, that's another thing is student loans. Like if you have them, contact your servicer
Yeah.
because they're willing to work with us because things are changing so much.
Yeah, and that's really good information. And going back to what you just said about people don't know if they're going to have jobs in the next month or two. I was just listening to the news this morning, and of course, this is obviously potential, and this is people speculating. But our unemployment rate actually could go above what it was for the Great Depression 100 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, over 30% they're talking about. And in, what was it, 1929 when the Great Depression hit, that was, I believe, 25% was the
Oh,
unemployment
wow.
rate. And if that is true, I mean, this is major. And that's why the credit score minimums for homes are going up because these investors, these lenders, the service providers, they want to make sure that they are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, they're trying to just make sure that they're going to get paid in the next 2 months, 6 months, 1 year,
Right.
2 years. I mean, at this point, they don't want to lend money to somebody who's currently past due on their bills or having that potential, like maxing out credit cards,
Right.
right?
Right. Living beyond their means right now and not using those stimulus. I know I did a video yesterday with a lender about the stimulus checks that are coming in and
Yeah.
making sure you're using them responsibly for what they're meant for and not just acting like this is a stay-at-home vacation.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I've never seen this many industries affected across the board. So it's going to be really interesting what's going to happen between now and the end of the year. You
oh
know,
yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely, I mean, we're in unprecedented area. I mean, this is unheard of.
hmm
And I mean, obviously, we're all trying to take the right steps to stay in place, social distancing. We're trying to make sure that we minimize this impact. And we want to get back to our lives, but we want to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in a bad financial bind.
right.
So like you mentioned, contacting the student loan service providers, well,
Mhm.
don't forget to contact your mortgage company. Make
Yeah,
sure that you're
first,
reaching out.
yeah, those major things like what you were saying in your video the other day is make sure you have a roof over your head. Contact them. See if they're
First.
willing to work with you. Your student loans, your whoever is holding your car note.
Yeah.
Credit cards are super important, obviously, because the trickle effect of those late payments and how that's going to affect your score going forward. And you and I know, just working in credit repair, that one hit can drop your score sometimes 80 points or something
Yeah.
crazy. So, I mean, you don't want to take that risk for sure.
Right, because we know that everything is affected by credit, from being able to get a job to insurance to your rates and these service providers are able to look at your credit report at any given time and make assessments on what they want to do. Like if they see
Right.
that your credit cards are being paid late, they can close off your accounts. I mean,
Yeah,
as far as
that's
I'm
true.
aware, they're still able to do that, correct?
I believe they are. I mean, I think every creditor is different. They're all
That's
handling
true.
it differently. So, I mean, contact them and just, before the bill is due and just saying, hey, how are you going to deal with this with me if I don't have a job next week? Like, what do I do if my income just completely goes away? And just
And
see what options they have.
that's the key, what you just said.
Hmm.
Contact them before the bill is due.
Right. Before you get in a bind.
Yeah, proactive, not reactive, because when you're being
Exactly.
proactive, they feel like, okay, well, this person's actually taking responsibility for their actions.
Right.
Otherwise, they're going to say, well, why should we help you when you didn't even reach out? How do we know that you're actually in a bind? Maybe you just didn't want to pay
Right.
us.
Well, and you got to think about it, like your credit report. It's not a balance sheet of what you owe. We say this
Yeah.
all day long. I know Carl
Okay.
used to say this all the time. It's not a balance sheet of what you owe. It's a history of how you
This
pay
is
back
how
your
you
debt.
pay it.
And the crazy thing is you have to think about the fact that the creditors, they're in a bind. All of these accounts could go delinquent. They don't know the risk. They don't know what's coming up in the next, couple months. So they probably are going to be monitoring it a lot closer than they have before to
Yeah.
see which account they should shut off because they're not
Right.
getting paid back. So I mean that's a huge thing. Just definitely before the hits the fan, contact them and make sure that you're being proactive.
Yeah. And a valid point to also make is when you do contact them, make sure that you're asking what you're doing, what you're setting up, is that going to result in late payments? Are they going to report to the
Right.
three credit bureaus?
Or tack
And
on interest at the end.
exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd rather pay interest than have those late payments, because those late
Yeah.
payments will affect you for, years.
Yeah.
And I keep preaching this: documentation beats confrontation. Make sure you write down who you spoke to, when you called, if they have an employee ID number, what the resolution was, even write down the phone number and the time that you called.
Mm-hmm.
Have as much information in one specific area so that you could go back and
Right.
use it in the future if that's something that becomes a headache for you.
And one thing Alinda and I were talking about yesterday that I thought was really interesting is the fact that our employment it might change. People, the next couple weeks, are they going to have a gap in their employment history? Is that going to affect them getting a loan
Yeah.
in 6 months? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting how all this is going to play out. We don't know.
Right. You know what's also interesting about that, totally uncredit related, is think about this: when people start going for new jobs in the future, that gap of unemployment.
Yeah.
Do you
That's
think
gonna
that that's going to affect people?
be, yeah,
Again,
it
totally
definitely will.
unrelated to credit or mortgages, but I just thought it was an interesting, like, it just set off a light,
Yeah.
and
It's definitely uncharted territory for a lot of us.
how many people are getting to work from home like we do? We're lucky, right?
I was thinking about that actually this morning, thinking, there's those, Monty jokes, our owner always jokes about the fact that when he's working from home, he's so, ADD, he's working on his pool or in his yard or doing all this. And it's like, how many
Yes.
people, like you and I have been doing this for years,
Yes.
and we work from home full time. So it's like, we can multitask and stay on, on task and everything. And it's interesting, throw kids in the mix. We were just joking about that. We both have boys. So we both have very young, rambunctious, energetic boys. And it's trying to do this plus kids. It's crazy. And everyone's
Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't tried to come in again.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
haven't started the video. We were talking beforehand a long time because my kids kept coming in.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but what you're doing to entertain the kids is going to be different than what I do, because your kids are just slightly younger.
Yeah.
And
It's been challenging for sure.
are you doing homeschooling?
Well, so that's another interesting thing is a lot of my tribe of moms down here that I'm real close to, they have older kids, and so they have homework, they have assignments, they have 20 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of math, and I'm like, I'm so grateful that I have a 3.5-year-old and a 5-year-old, and really only one that was in an academic environment. So all I have to do is any kind of thing educational that I can, but we don't have a curriculum and we don't have homework. So it's hard.
Right. Yeah. John's in kindergarten. He doesn't
Mm.
have homework right now, but we're trying to keep up with the whole learning thing. Like we have a set schedule. Today I'm off on my schedule, and that has proven to be chaotic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm always open to advice, but there's anything that you can suggest, I will gladly take it, especially with, being up in Chicago, the weather's not always great. I can't just, boot them outside. I'd love
One
to.
thing I think that would be really neat is, obviously we post these on Facebook.
Right.
So if you're seeing this and you have a credit question or concern right now in the midst of all this crazy stuff, between Kelly and I, we have so much experience that if you want to comment below a question that you might have or a concern, or even directly message us, I mean, we're happy to help guide anybody any way that we can, because it's definitely, like I said, it's uncharted territory for a lot of people. So yeah, if there's any credit questions you guys have, post them below and we can help.
And if you have any advice about how to deal with the kids, we would love that feedback too.
Please.
I mean, this is open for all. And here's the thing. We are all in this together, right? You and I are not the only ones dealing with this.
Exactly.
Joe Smith down the street is not the only one dealing with this. So many people are out of jobs. So many people are working from home. No kids are going to school. I'm curious about how that's going to affect grading and people moving up over the course of the next couple of years. But I digress. The whole point is we are all in this together, and we need to support each other and
find comfort in that. Like, you're not alone in this. None of us are alone in this. We're all being affected.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Right.
You really, sometimes we just have to let go of our pride, and maybe you don't want to contact the service provider, maybe you don't want to contact your credit card company, but I promise you that phone call, as painful as that might be for you, for somebody who's never paid anything late or never had that issue of having to pay things late,
right.
I'm telling you, it's going to be so much more worth it and beneficial for you than if you go through and just deal with the late payments and the consequences in the future.
Exactly.
So, but Allyson, thank you for your time. I'm so glad we got to talk.
I know. I miss your face. She's up in Chicago. I'm down here in Texas.
I was supposed to be there last week.
No, travel restrictions are no fun at all.
Yeah, I know. But could you imagine if I went and they told me that it was locked down and I couldn't go back? That's what my sister was fearing. She's like, you're going to get stuck there. I go, there are worse places.
Yeah, like my territory, is Louisiana and Oklahoma. And it's like, because Louisiana is being hit so hard. I was talking to Linda yesterday, and she's like, you can't travel between the states right now without being complete. You have to be checked and quarantined. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's just crazy times. So
yeah,
I say we go on a mom vacation after this without kids. Get the heck out of here. But anyways, well, I'll let you get to your day. I know you've got a lot going on with the boys, but if y'all
I'm
need,
glad we had this clear time and no screaming, no fighting, no hitting, no slamming.
Yeah, go get some work done before it gets chaotic again.
Thanks, and good luck.
All right, talk to you later.
Stay safe.